Hi everyone. So today we will revise the first topic, that is 1.1, how organisms obtain energy, and we must need to start with the definition of energy. Like, what do we mean by energy? So let's start with that. So it is the ability to do work, and organisms need energy. They obtain energy in different ways that we have to figure out today. So 1.1, it will talk about differentiate between autotrophs and heterotroph. So here we must learn that auto mean by themselves and troph is the food. So basically we eat food to get energy, and here the hetero mean different, so they get the food from different organisms. So different, and here it is the food. So first of all, the most important thing is you need to learn the word meanings, and it will give you a quick idea how you define them. So autotrophs are the organisms who obtain their food by themselves, who make their food by themselves, who have the ability to get energy by themselves. But heterotrophs are the one who eat or hunt or prey other organisms for getting energy. Also include chemoautotroph and photoautotroph. So we need to learn the meaning of the chemo over here. Chemo is for chemicals, and autotroph we learned up, and which chemical it is, H2S, and H2S stand for hydrogen sulfide. So those organisms who use hydrogen sulfide to obtain their energy, they are called as chemoautotroph. Now moving on next to the photoautotroph. So photo mean light. So here we will write the meaning of the photo. Sorry, there is less space, so I will just quickly write down here. It means light. So those organisms who use light to make their own food, they are called as photoautotroph. So we learned four definitions till now. Moving to the next definition, that is the called as metabolism. So we need to learn like what does metabolism mean. So it is so simple and straightforward that all the chemical reactions which are taking place in the body of an organism, we call them as metabolism. So we will define it over here. All chemical reactions, all chemical reactions taking place in an organism, so we call it as metabolism. Moving further, differentiate using examples between the two metabolic pathways. So we should learn like there are two pathways. One is called as catabolic pathway and the other is called as anabolic pathway. So catabolic pathway, basically it is also called as catabolism. So it is a type of the chemical reaction in which the molecules are broken down. So cata, so from cata you need to learn that it means breakdown. So of course, who will break down? The one which are large. So here large molecules are broken down. Okay, so large, sorry, 1 minute. Large to small. Okay, and when you do catabolism, you release energy. So these are the two things that you must learn about the catabolism. Large molecules to small molecules. Okay. Now moving to the other side, there we call it as anabolic pathway. Anabolic pathway is also known as anabolism, and anabolism is like building up. So we do build up large molecules, okay, from here we say from small molecules. Okay, so we build up large molecules from small molecules, or you can say the other way, small molecules join to make large molecules, and here energy is absorbed. So this is how it works. Now moving to the next KPI, identify ATP as the most important biological molecule that provides chemical energy. So here we most important thing is that we should learn ATP. So what is ATP? Remove this as, so we say that the most important biological molecule that provides chemical energy for the body. So in simple words, we call it as, it is the energy currency of the body. So our body use it as the energy currency, okay, of the body. Now moving to the next one, describe using diagrams the structure and function of the ATP. So we should use diagrams. So simple is that we need to see the structure and function of ATP. So first of all, we will do structure. So it has three major components, that is 1,5 carbon ring, and then we have phosphate, and we have phosphate, and then on this side we have A. So this can be single ring, double ring, this is a nucleotide, but this is of course a double ring one. So here we have three major components. Number one, it's a ribose. Number two, so this is number one, ribose, okay. Number two, it's adenine, and this is number two. And number three, this is phosphate. So there are three phosphate, so we say it as phosphate groups, okay. Now the most important thing is that this bond this bond to be broken down to release energy. So when you break one bond, so you are left with the two ATP molecules, so two phosphate molecules. So this is the thing that happens. So ATP breaks down, release one phosphate. Normally we put I with it, that is the inorganic phosphate, and it makes ADP. And the same process happens again, you release one more phosphate and it is converted into AMP. So this is how it works. Now moving onward, we have to practice the questions. So starting with the questions, one by one. Let's start with question number one. Now question number one over here, use the table below to answer questions 1 and 2. So this table you need to use to answer both questions, question 1 and question 2. Organism X, Y and Z, there are three organisms. How does it obtain food? So we need to see how does it obtain food, and then we have to answer the questions. So X is obtaining by feeds on producers found in the ecosystem. So anyone who feeds on producer, so basically we call it as heterotroph. So this is a heterotroph, and we simply also call it as this is a consumer, okay. And we also call it as this is a herbivore, and we may also write it as this is a primary consumer, okay. So this is a primary consumer. So these four statements you can use with them, okay. Now or which of Y feeds on the consumers found in the ecosystem. So it is feeding on consumers, so it's again a consumer, so it is a heterotroph. Use sunlight to make its own food. So when they say use sunlight to make this own food, this is an autotroph. And don't forget, they use sunlight, so they are photoautotrophs, and this is also a heterotroph. Now moving further, question number one, which of the following species is an autotroph? So you can easily now answer from here that the species which is an the one that we have to answer over here. So organism X only, organism X only, so this is a heterotroph. Organism Y only, this is a heterotroph. Organism Z only, yes. So this is the answer. We already figured it out what's happening, who is autotroph and who is autotroph and heterotroph. Which of the following are heterotroph? So now of course X and Y only. Okay, so we don't need to go into more details of these. Question number 3. Now in the question number 3 we need to move on. Number 3, sorry. A team of researchers discovers 2 newly identified microorganisms living near a hydrothermal vent deep in the ocean. Organism A synthesizes its own organic compound using energy from hydrogen sulfide. So of course the one using from hydrogen sulfide, it is a chemoautotroph. It is a chemoautotroph. Okay, so this one, chemoautotroph. Okay, now organism B absorbs organic compounds released by the dead organisms in its environment based on the information. Which classification most accurately identifies A and B? So of course now this is the one which is eating by dead organisms, so this is a heterotroph, so you can answer it easily. So organism A is a chemoautotroph. So which option? It's option A that fits over here as an answer. Next question, which of the following species is an example of the autotroph? Of course grass, because mushroom is a fungi. Okay, which is a heterotroph. Rabbit animal, sea star animal, so these are animals, so they are heterotroph. Which of the following is correct about autotroph? We know that they make their own food by getting light or hydrogen sulfide. So ingest food, no. Kill other organisms, no. Make their own food, yes, that's the answer. Which of the following is correct about heterotroph? Again, those organisms who cannot make their own food and obtain energy by consuming other organisms. Which of the following is correct definition of metabolism? We learned it already. All sets of chemical reactions which are taking place in an organism or in a cell. So it's all the amount of energy found in ecosystem, no. All the chemical reactions in a cell, yes. All of the homeostatic processes in the body, no. All of the transport processes across the cell membrane, no. Which of the following is correct about a catabolic pathway? We know that it's a breakdown, okay, and it releases energy. So we need to figure out these two. Cellular respiration is an example, yes. Small molecules are joined, no. This is anabolism. They result in releasing energy, yes. So only 1 and 2, 1 and 3. So you can easily say it as B. Which of the following is an example of anabolic pathway? Opposite of that. So when you make something, okay, active transport use energy, okay, but it's not like making something. ATP breakdown is a catabolism. It's a catabolism. And digestion is a catabolism because you are breaking down large molecules of food. Photosynthesis, we learned it in 1.2, where you make glucose, right? Make glucose. So this is the answer. A student is analyzing the metabolic activity of the 2 groups of muscle cells under different conditions. Group X was supplied with the glucose and oxygen. Group Y was supplied with glucose but kept in an aerobic chamber like it's no oxygen. After 30 minutes, the student observed that Group X produces more energy. Okay, produce or release. This is what we focus. While Group Y had buildup of lactic acid. But remember, here it says that both of them, they produce energy, right? But Group X produces more energy than Y. So both are producing energy. So it means both release energy. So what do we mean over here? That both groups perform anabolic pathway? No. Both groups perform catabolic pathway. So catabolic pathway is the one that release energy. We learned it above. It release energy. So this is the answer. What is the primary role of ATP in a cellular metabolism? So what does ATP do? ATP provides energy. It's the energy currency. So this is the answer. Provides energy for the cellular processes. During a muscle contraction experiment, a researcher inhibits the enzyme that converts ADP to ADP. Inhibit mean something like stop, or you can say block, or you can say remove, whatever you want over here. As a result, muscle cells quickly lose their ability to contract because they need ATP, they need energy to contract. So in your body, if you don't have energy, it leads to cramps. Which of the following best explains why lack of ATP produces production affect muscles contraction? So we need to see now what happens. So basically, as we discussed, ATP is energy that is required for the muscle contraction cycle. This is what we need to learn over here. Okay, so ATP act as a long-term energy storage. It's a long-term energy storage, and its absence leads to protein breakdown. No. ATP increases oxygen delivery. No. ATP provides immediate chemical energy required for muscle contraction. Yes. ATP stores genetic information. No, that is DNA that stores genetic information. How do ATP and ADP function within metabolic pathway? They are interconvertible. We know that. Okay. So ATP is the only used in photosynthesis. No. ATP stores energy by gaining phosphate group, and ADP releases energy by losing it. No. They are opposite. So this should be written ADP and this should be written ATP. So they are written opposite. ATP releases energy when phosphate is removed, converting to ATP, which can be recharged during yielding process. Yes, this is correct. ADP provides more energy. No, this is ATP provides more energy. Which number in the diagram indicates the common reaction that releases energy? So when ATP will break down to ADP, this shows energy is released. Okay, so we need to see 3-phosphate. Okay, so 1 2 3. Yes, this side is okay, but over here we have only 1. This is wrong. 1 2 3. Okay, this is correct. Over here nothing, so this is wrong. It is 1 2. Okay, and on the other hand side it is 1 2 3. Wrong, because we need here 3. Okay, so this is wrong. So 1 2 3. This is ATP. It breaks down to ADP. Yes, this is the correct one. So this is which number? Number 4. A student suggests that the ATP cycle makes ATP a reusable molecule for cellular energy. Which of the following best explains why ATP is well suited for this role based on its structure and function? So what is special in ATP? Like the phosphate bond. We learned already that in this molecule, this bond is the most important. When it breaks, it results in ADP and loses energy. ATP contain 3 ribose sugar. No, they contain only 1 ribose, while 3 phosphate. ATP has a stable structure that prevents it from. No, ATP is not a stable. It's not like the one who always stays stable. So this is wrong. The nitrogen base in the ATP reacts with the enzyme to produce energy. No, the nitrogen base like adenine, it doesn't react with that. Okay, so adenine is the nitrogen base. It doesn't react anywhere. The phosphate bond in the ATP stores large amount of ATP molecules. Yes, that's the correct one, and which quickly released and replenished. Replenished mean regain when they have extra phosphate. Okay, with that we reach the end of the multiple choices. We will move now to what we say as the long free response questions. So in the free response questions, scientists conducted an experiment to study energy acquisition in 3 different microbial communities found in the extreme environments. Normally bacteria stays in the extreme environments. Okay, remember, either bacteria or archaea. The results are shown in the table below. Use your knowledge to. And what do they do? Both of them, they do chemosynthesis. They are chemoautotrophs, and they use chemical. And we learned about the chemical. Which chemical they use? Hydrogen sulfide. So this is the basic knowledge you should know from before you answer the question. Okay. Based on the data in the table, classify the microbial groups A, B, C as either phototroph, chemotroph or heterotroph, and justify your answer. So A uses sunlight, so it is what? It's an autotroph. But they don't want only autotroph, they want you what? Photoautotroph. So A, photoautotroph. And you can say that since it is using sunlight to make energy. B, they use hydrogen sulfide, so you know very well it is a chemoautotroph. And what's the reason? They use chemical energy, okay, that is H2S, and also they use CO2. Same here, they use sunlight and also CO2. C, the carbon source is organic molecules, energy source is organic molecules, and they do decomposition. So they do decomposition, so we can simply say them as they are heterotroph, because they obtain their energy from other organisms decaying them. So you need to justify them more, okay? Justify them, use the table to justify them, or listen to what I said again. Suppose a pollutant blocks carbon dioxide uptake in group A. Predict the impact this would have on the microbial community and explain. So of course group A is the one which is using CO2 and it is using sunlight, and it is a very important for the microbial organisms to survive over there. So of course if it is blocked, okay, so if CO2 is blocked, what's gonna happen? If CO2 is blocked, it means that no photosynthesis, right? So there is no photosynthesis. So when you say that there is no photosynthesis, it means that no glucose produced. And when there is no glucose produced, it means that decreased energy, okay, decreased energy, and then possibly since no food, no energy, then possible death of microbial community. Okay, next question please. Use the diagram below to answer questions 18 and 19. This is ATP ADP cycle, okay, and we discussed this in class in a very good in a very detailed way. So here it is molecule A, 1 2 3 ATPs, 3 P's, so it means this is an ATP. And here we have 1 2 ATP, 2P, so this is ADP, and phosphate is released. So in reaction 1, phosphate is released, along with that energy is released, and we use water molecule to break it down. This process is called as hydrolysis. We have learned the same hydrolysis name as catabolism. So if you see hydrolysis or you see catabolism, they mean the same. So this is hydrolysis or catabolism, and this is a catabolic reaction. Okay, why? Because it releases phosphate and energy is released. Now on the other hand side, you go this way, so energy is absorbed and you add phosphate from here being added, so added, and this is anabolic reaction, or we say it as condensation reaction, because condensation reaction is the same as anabolic. Water is produced in the condensation reaction and energy is used. Going down to the table, which reaction is anabolic or catabolic? We just figured it up. One is catabolic. Why is catabolic? Energy is released. Okay, energy is released. Now moving to the next one, 2 is anabolic, and based on energy released or energy absorbs energy. Next one, molecule A and B. So we already know that molecule A over here, we labeled it as ATP, and molecule B is ADP. Okay, and that's it. With that, the end of end of topic 1.1. If there is any question, please feel free to comment or email. Thank you.